What kind of crime is so horrific that even a judge, someone who has seen the darkest side of humanity, calls it the most evil they've ever witnessed? This is not just another tragic case. At the center of it all is a woman trusted with the most sacred responsibility, caring for a helpless baby. But instead of keeping him safe, she became something far worse. A monster hidden in plain sight. What happened behind closed doors will leave you speechless. Anthony Delgado was just a tiny baby, only a few months old. He was full of joy. His little giggles made everyone smile, and his big, bright eyes were always looking around, curious about everything. He trusted the people around him, his mommy, his family, and even the people his mommy asked to help take care of him. But one of those people was not kind. One of those people broke that trust in the worst way. Her name was Gloria Fields. She lived nearby, and Anthony's mommy, Marta, thought she could trust Gloria to watch over her baby for a short time. Marta had to move to a new apartment, and she just needed a little help for the weekend. She never thought anything bad would happen. But something terrible did happen. On February 1st, Anthony's world changed forever. What was supposed to be a simple favor, just watching a baby, turned into something no one could have imagined. Gloria, the person who was supposed to keep him safe, became the one who hurt him. Instead of being gentle and kind, she was cruel. Instead of protecting him, she caused him pain. 81st, Gloria lied. She sent a message to Marta saying Anthony had just fallen. But that wasn't the truth. Behind closed doors, something much worse was happening. Anthony was just a little baby. He couldn't fight back. He couldn't tell anyone what was happening. He could only cry. And no one knew the truth, at least not yet. But soon the truth would come out. And when people found out what really happened, they couldn't believe it. Before we start, I just want to say a big thank you to all my amazing viewers and subscribers. Your support means so much. Every time you like, share, or comment, it helps bring these stories to life. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and be part of our growing family of true crime fans. Now, let's get into the story. Marta was excited about moving into her new home. She wanted a fresh start, a safe and happy place for her and her little son, Anthony. Life had not been easy, but she was strong. She believed she could give Anthony a life filled with love, comfort, and security. But sometimes, the people we trust the most are the ones who hurt us the most. Marta had a neighbor named Gloria Fields. She seemed nice, always smiling, always offering to help. When she told Marta she could watch Anthony while she settled into her new home, Marta thought it was a kind gesture. Gloria lived right next door, so it felt safe. Marta never imagined anything bad could happen. But Gloria Fields was not who she pretended to be. She had a past, a very dark past. She had been arrested 9 times. These were not small mistakes. She had been in trouble for hurting people, using drugs, and making bad choices over and over again. She had even lost her own children because she did not take care of them. Yet, this was the woman now in charge of watching over little Anthony. And what happened next would change everything forever. On February 24th, Marta left Anthony with Gloria. It was supposed to be just for a short time. But by the next day, something terrible had already begun. Gloria didn't take care of Anthony the way a babysitter should. Instead, she made dangerous choices. She took Anthony with her as she went out, not to a park or a fun place for kids, but to spend the day using drugs. She smoked marijuana and used other bad substances that made her act carelessly. She was not thinking about Anthony's safety. She was not being a responsible adult. But that was only the beginning of what was to come. The choices Gloria made were not just bad, they were terrible. No grown-up should ever act the way she did, especially when taking care of a little child. Because of her bad choices, something awful happened, and it was something that would never be forgotten. That day, Gloria took Anthony to a store called Buffalo Exchange. As they walked around, people started to notice something was wrong. Anthony had bruises and marks all over his tiny body. He looked hurt, but no one stopped to help him. It was like they didn't want to get involved, or maybe they didn't believe what they were seeing. And then, on February 26th, Marta got a text message from Gloria. It said that Anthony had fallen. But this was not just a fall. Anthony wasn't just hurt, he had been badly hurt. And the worst part, it didn't happen all at once. It happened over 2 long days. Gloria didn't just hurt Anthony. She tortured him. It wasn't just bruises. It wasn't just broken bones. It was much worse. Gloria shook Anthony so hard that his tiny body couldn't handle it. His head was hit so badly that it could make anyone feel dizzy or even pass out. But Anthony was just a baby. He didn't even understand what was happening to him. And then it got even worse. Something happened that is so horrible, so terrible, that it's hard to even say it out loud. Gloria used a pencil to hurt Anthony in the worst way possible. It caused deep injuries inside his small body. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't something that just got out of control. This was evil. For 2 whole days, Anthony went through unimaginable pain. It wasn't just one moment of hurt, it was many. It kept getting worse and worse. And all the while, Anthony was too little to fight back, too little to call for help. And then, finally, when Gloria saw that Anthony was dying, she called 911. The ambulance arrived quickly. The paramedics rushed in, hoping they could still save him. But the moment they saw Anthony, they knew. It was too late. The hospital was full of noise, people rushing, alarms beeping. The doctors and nurses worked as fast as they could to save Anthony. But Gloria, the woman who was supposed to care for him, didn't act like someone who was scared or worried. She wasn't crying. She wasn't panicking. She just stood there cold and quiet, like she didn't understand how serious this was. The paramedics did everything to keep Anthony alive as they rushed him to Staten Island University Hospital. Every second was important. Every moment felt longer and heavier. The doctors tried their hardest, but Anthony's small body was too weak. And then the worst happened. Anthony's heart stopped. The doctors tried to bring him back, but it was too late. His tiny heart, once full of life, just gave up. The doctors wrote down the cause of death, cardiac arrest. On paper, it looked like a sad but natural event. But what the doctors discovered later told a very different story. A story that was much worse. When the medical examiner checked Anthony's body, the truth became clear. This wasn't just a fall. This wasn't an accident. This was pure cruelty. Anthony's tiny bones were broken. His body was covered in bruises. He had been hit, shaken, and hurt over and over again. The injuries were so severe that even experienced doctors were shocked. Anthony had suffered greatly. His little body had taken too much pain. And the person who had done this? The one person who was supposed to keep him safe. It was Gloria Fields. When the police started asking questions, Gloria lied. She said she didn't remember. She said she had blackouts. She even said she forgot to take her medicine. She tried everything to avoid blame. She didn't want to face what she had done. But the truth was already out, and soon there would be nowhere left for her to hide. The police kept asking Gloria questions. Hour after hour, they pushed her to tell the truth. At first, she refused to admit what she had done. She acted like she didn't know what happened. But as time passed, and the pressure grew stronger, something changed. Gloria finally broke. But not because she was sorry. Not because she felt bad for hurting Anthony. She confessed only because she had no other choice. And when she finally spoke, her words were cold and terrifying. I just wanted to inflict some pain on something else because I was in pain. She said it like it made sense. Like it was just a normal reason. She didn't cry. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't even seem to care. At that moment, everyone understood the truth. Gloria didn't hurt Anthony by accident. She didn't lose control for just a moment. She chose to hurt him. Because she was in pain, she decided to make someone else suffer too. And that someone was a tiny baby who couldn't fight back. When the day of the court trial came, Gloria sat quietly in her seat. The room was full of people who wanted justice for Anthony. His family spoke, their words filled with sadness and pain. They had lost someone they loved, and nothing could bring him back. But Gloria? She sat there without moving. Her face was empty. She didn't cry. She didn't even look sorry. The charges against her were serious first-degree murder, for taking Anthony's life, aggravated assault for hurting him so badly, child endangerment for not keeping him safe, criminal weapon possession for using objects to harm him. There was no way to hide the truth anymore. The evidence was there for everyone to see. Anthony's small body had been hurt beyond recognition, and now, in court, Gloria's actions were being exposed to the world. Gloria couldn't escape what she had done. But her lawyers tried everything to save her from facing the full punishment. First, they tried to say she was too sick to know what she was doing. They claimed that because she didn't take her medicine, she wasn't thinking clearly. But that excuse didn't work. The truth was clear. Gloria's actions weren't just a mistake. She didn't lose control for a moment. She planned her actions. She chose to hurt Anthony. Then, her lawyers tried another excuse. They said the police had treated her unfairly, that they forced her to confess. But that wasn't true either. The judge wasn't fooled. The police had simply asked again and again until Gloria finally admitted what she did. No one tricked her. She told the truth because there was no other choice. And so, the judge made the final decision. Gloria Fields was sentenced to 26 years to life in prison. But when the family heard the sentence, they felt it wasn't enough. The courtroom was silent, filled with heavy emotions. On one side, Anthony's family sat together, their faces showing pain, exhaustion, and anger. After the trial, Anthony's aunt spoke to reporters. 26 years in prison won't bring my nephew back. It won't heal our pain, but at least she'll never hurt another child again. Even though they were glad she was going to jail, they also felt let down. To them, Anthony's life deserved more justice. His cousin spoke, his voice filled with hurt and frustration. She took everything from us. We're left with nothing but pain. And 26 years? That's not enough. It doesn't change what she did. No matter how long Gloria stayed in prison, the scars she left on Anthony's family would never go away. Even though Gloria was sent to prison, Anthony's family still felt heartbroken. Yes, she was being punished. Yes, she would pay for what she did. But one day she might get out. And for Anthony's family, that didn't feel right, because no matter how many years passed, they would never get Anthony back. The pain of losing him would never go away. During the trial, Gloria's lawyers tried to make people feel sorry for her. They said she had a hard life, that she had been through a lot of pain. They told the court that Gloria had lost her own children, a loss that made her angry, sad, and broken inside. Maybe that was true. Maybe she was hurting. But no amount of pain could ever excuse what she did to Anthony. He was just a baby. He had done nothing wrong. And no one, not even Gloria, had the right to hurt him. The law made sure she was punished. Her past struggles may have explained why she was so angry at the world, but they could never make what she did okay. In the end, this wasn't about her pain. It was about the pain she caused. The hurt, the suffering, the loss, all because of her own choices. As Gloria sat in court, talking about her own struggles, she missed the most important truth: there is never a reason to hurt a child. The people who lived near Gloria Fields had a lot to say about her. Many of them already knew she had problems. Some had seen her act angry or unpredictable. Others knew about her past troubles, her arrests, her struggles with drugs, and the way she treated people around her. Some neighbors had even seen her act strangely with children. But no one ever thought she would do something this terrible. One neighbor, who lived close to Gloria, spoke to the news after Anthony's death. We all knew Gloria was different. She mostly kept to herself. But we never thought she would hurt a child. She talked a lot about her own problems, but we had no idea she could go this far. Others remembered how Gloria treated her own kids. Sometimes she had her children with her, but they never looked happy. You could tell something was wrong. They seemed scared. But no one thought she would do something like this. It's just terrifying. Some neighbors started to wonder, could this have been stopped? One person said, "I think there should be better ways to watch people with a history of abuse. No one should have to go through this again." They were right. Because Gloria Fields was not just a woman who had problems. She was a woman who had hurt a child in the worst way possible. And for Anthony's family, no warning signs, no regrets, and no explanations could ever bring him back. Gloria Fields' actions were not just a terrible mistake. They were part of a bigger, darker pattern, a cycle of violence, neglect, and addiction that had been turning for years. She wasn't the first to do something so cruel, and unless something changed, she wouldn't be the last. Experts have long studied people like Gloria, people who hurt others, especially children, and what they've found is chilling. According to research, many people who abuse children once are likely to do it again. Somewhere, in another town or city, another child like Anthony could be in danger right now, trapped with someone who is supposed to care for them but instead chooses to harm them. It's a terrifying thought, and it's made worse by one undeniable truth. Gloria wasn't just a woman who made a bad choice. She was a product of a cycle, one that started long before Anthony came into her life. Long before she became the monster in this story, Gloria had her own struggles. She lost her children because she couldn't care for them. She turned to drugs instead of getting help. She lived in a world of anger, frustration, and self-destruction. But instead of breaking free, instead of seeking help, she did what too many before her had done. She let her pain turn into violence. Her choices led her down a dark path, a path that ended with Anthony's life being stolen far too soon. And the scariest part? She was not alone. Studies show that many who abuse children don't stop. 30% to 40% of people convicted of child abuse or domestic violence will hurt someone again, especially if they struggle with addiction. 60% to 70% of child abusers also struggle with drugs or alcohol. 68% of violent criminals, including those convicted of child abuse, reoffend within 5 years if they don't get the right help. The truth is clear: Gloria Fields was always a danger to children. And people like her will continue to be a danger if nothing is done to stop them in time. Because for every Anthony, there's another innocent child out there. A child who trusts the wrong person. A child who won't see the warning signs. A child who needs someone to step in before it's too late. The real question is, will we learn from this story, or will history repeat itself? So now I ask you, was Gloria Fields simply a broken woman shaped by her own pain and suffering? Or did she make a choice, a dark, deliberate choice to hurt someone who couldn't fight back? Could she have been saved before it was too late? Or was she always on this path, too far gone to ever turn back? I want to know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. And more importantly, was justice truly served? Did 26 years to life match the crime she committed? Or did Anthony, a child whose future was stolen before it even began, deserve more than that? This is why we tell these stories. Because they matter. Because the truth needs to be heard. And if you believe that too, if you want to help bring awareness to stories like this, then please subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that should never be forgotten. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Together, we can make sure that the victims' voices are never silenced. Thank you for being here. And until next time, stay safe, take care, and always stand for justice.